Hello humans, welcome back to Your Thoughts Are Valid and I hope you all are doing great. So today we are going to cover the last part of unit third of performance appraisal, and this is part 13th of organizational psychology crash course. So let's see what topic we are going to cover today. So today we are going to study about bias in performance appraisal and what methods can be used to improve performance appraisal. So let's start with the video. According to survey results from Fortune 1000 companies, 66% employees are dissatisfied with their performance evaluations. Among these, 71% thought performance evaluations were unfair. The goal of performance appraisal is more than just evaluating employee performance and providing appraisal scores. Employee reviews, in fact, help in identifying skill development needs of employees and rewarding the top performers for their valuable contributions. During performance reviews, every manager uniquely evaluates and scores employees on multiple performance parameters. Yet, some type of judgment errors or biases occur even if they are unconscious. So let's start with what are some of the biases in performance appraisal. So first one is recency bias. This is like the most commonly occurring bias. So recency bias in performance appraisal happens when you judge an employee on the basis of the employee's most recent performance. This happens when assessments are usually done once a year rather than on a continuous basis. Hence, the reviews are neither fair or accurate and do not reflect the actual employee performance. So it's like if you are doing the evaluation at the end of the year, so you really don't remember that what happened in the initial months. You might just remember what happened in the last few months, and we all are human, so it's very possible that in the last few months there might be something which was bothering an employee, so he couldn't perform that well. But in the previous months he would have performed really well, but then that won't be considered. So that would be recency bias. Then hello, and horn effect. Then the rater creates an overall positive impression of an employee and inflates the ratings. It is known as the hello effect. It can happen due to the consequence of a manager having affinity or similarity bias with some employees. Okay, understand this because it's like many of the questions have been asked from hello effect. Like I remember, like in the entrance exams of NET and MPhil, hello effect has been asked. So, what is hello effect? So, it's like it is the tendency for positive impressions of a person, company, country, brand, or product in one area to positively or negatively influence one's opinion or feelings in other areas. Okay, like suppose whoever is going to rate the employee, he or she creates an overall positive impression of an employee, like the employee is the best, and then inflate the rating. Like, he convinces the other raters around him that, this person is really nice, this employee is really great, then that will come under hello effect. And it happens due to the consequence of a manager having affinity or similarity bias with some employees, and that might be because there might be some personal reason, or like they might have same similarities, the employee and the creator. So in that case, hello effect can take place. Then the horn effect is when a manager finds one negative aspect of an employee and deflates the ratings in all areas. So horn effect is like a manager hates one employee or dislike one employee. So he, just creates the negative image of that employee in front of everyone, like in front of other raters. So that is going to like that will make other person, that will definitely influence other raters. So the rating of the employee would be really low, although the employee can be really great. But just because one person doesn't like, it might lead to horn effect. These types of biases in performance appraisals can not only lead to unfair assessment, but at the same time, they can impact the objectivity of the performance reviews. Thus, it becomes important to overcome these performance appraisal errors. Moving on. Central tendency bias. So, the central tendency bias in performance appraisal is the tendency of the manager to evaluate the majority of the employees as average. So, an example would be that you rate most of the employees as 3 on a 5-point rating scale. As a result, it becomes difficult to identify actual data as the appraisal scores are close to average. In fact, HR and leadership find it challenging to identify employees' strengths and weaknesses. This can also impact the low performance as they do not get any idea on the areas of improvement. So it's basically like we tend to think that most of the employees in our company are average. So that might not be true. There might be, like all the employees are really great, or like majority of them are really great, or like majority of them are not really doing their job. So it's not like the rating must be average, but most of the people get an average rating. So it becomes difficult to identify what how much actually are they contributing to the company, and even the employees cannot get any idea like where they need to improve. Then there is gender and racial bias. So we have seen from research that men are three times more likely to be rated as high potential employees than their equally capable women colleagues. So it's like a bias which is like gender based, because women are considered to be better homemakers rather than workers, rather than employees. So that is one of the reason that gender, like men are more likely to be rated more than women. Then similarly, it has been seen that white men are twice more likely to be rated as high potential employees than black men. So here comes racial bias. These gender and racial bias in performance reviews are significantly seen in organizations. Then there is another bias, which is primacy effect, or you can say first impression. So raters form an overall impression about the ratee on the basis of some particular characteristics of the ratee identified by them. The identified qualities and features may not provide adequate base for appraisal. Suppose an employee comes to you, and you are like the manager, and you really found them attractive and having similar views. So now you already have an opinion about the person. So just because of the few characteristics which you can observe. So these features or qualities doesn't really provide any adequate rating or adequate base for their appraisal. Then moving on, there is leniency and severity bias. So when the supervisor's rating pattern shifts from strict to lenient, it leads to differences in appraisal scores among employees functioning at the same levels. As a result, subordinates are given low or high ratings. Hence, the scores are wrong and the comparisons are likewise inaccurate. Then there is negativity bias. When the negative information dominates our thoughts, we tend to make negative decisions rather than balanced ones. For example, if an employee has previously failed, our brain still creates a negative bias, even if that employee's performance has improved. Professional development is hampered by negativity bias. Then there is contrast bias. This bias occurs when the manager compares the performance of one employee with the performance of other employees and assigns rating accordingly. It is important for managers to overcome this bias because each employee deserves to be evaluated based on their own merits rather than in comparison to other employees. Then there is a spillover effect. So in that, the present performance is evaluated much on the basis of past performance. Like the person who was a good performer in distant past is assured to be okay at present also. So these are some of the biases. So biases and rating errors in performance evaluations can help a negative impact on workplace productivity. Unfair evaluations harm company relations because top performers believe their efforts are not sufficiently recognized and rewarded. Yet there may be employees who are rewarded for their average performance due to favoritism or rating errors. Thus, it becomes important for every HR department to identify and find ways to avoid bias in performance evaluation. Supervisors, managers, and HR should all work together in avoiding biases in performance appraisal. They should ensure that performance reviews remain fair and employees remain motivated throughout the process. Now, just look at the diagram, which is about reducing risk and avoiding bias in performance appraisals. So, clear work expectations, performance notes throughout the year, ongoing constructive feedback, avoid open box review, normalization of performance scores, automate performance appraisal. Moving on. Clear work expectations. Now let's understand each of those in detail. So first one is clear work expectations. So one of the best ways of avoiding bias in performance appraisal is to define a standard criteria against which an employee's performance is evaluated. As a result, managers should decide and set employees' goals at the start of the performance year. They must leave no room for surprises. Once the goals are clearly outlined in front of employees, there are no chances of rating errors. In this way, managers have a point of reference to rate employees' performance for a specific period. Then there is performance notes throughout the year. Avoid recency bias in appraisals with the help of ongoing performance documentation. As so much happens in a year, hence it is necessary to keep track of employee performance. Managers can use tools to easily identify employee achievements, problems, missed deadlines, absenteeism, and other issues. In fact, managers can refer to these performance notes during the review to provide accurate ratings to employees. Then ongoing constructive feedback. The first thing that managers should remember is to meet their employees regularly and carry out performance conversations to understand their problems. Do not let remote working affect the frequency of feedback sessions. HR tools can assist in managing remote teams and carrying out effective performance reviews remotely. The managers are advised to provide constructive feedback to employees on a regular basis for improving performance and avoiding bias in performance appraisals. This will help in easily identifying employees' strengths, weaknesses, and areas of improvement in a timely manner. Avoid open box review. Managers are often given some open-ended questions without any training on how to complete performance evaluation effectively. Hence, you can set up a systematic performance assessment process in the organization. In fact, you can train your managers to find out measurable results from a performance assessment. In this way, managers can remain focused on providing for positive feedback and developing employee skills. This method helps to overcome the halo and horn effect in performance evaluation. Moving on, normalization of performance scores. Normalization is a method used to balance the difference in appraisal scores and make the assessments fair. Companies aim to simplify appraisal scores in order to reduce manager biases during performance evaluations. This way, you can contribute to greater objectivity in the process. With this method, you can also remove leniency and severity bias. Automate performance appraisal. Last but not the least, implement a cloud-based performance appraisal software to avoid bias and rating errors. And online appraisal software helps to easily keep track of performance notes, provide comparative ratings to employees, and create multiple appraisal plans for different employee groups. Additionally, you can increase the effectiveness of the appraisal process and get yearly performance reports. This brings transparency and objectivity in the review process. In short, you can evaluate performance fairly to engage and motivate top performers. Thank you so much for watching the video, and that is it for Unit 3. If you have any doubt, please do ask in the comment section, and I will see you all in the next video.